We're going to discuss a very crucial topic today, but it's all about spirituality. Whatever we talk about in this channel has to do with spirituality and nothing else. And today we are going to be talking about carving you out. You need to be carved out in case you are not carved out. And this topic is mainly for people who are suffering from intergenerational problem. My name is Oge, and you are welcome to this channel. In case you are joining us for the first time, please endeavor to subscribe to this channel and click on the notification bell. You will always be notified whenever I post any clip. So today, when we talk about intergenerational problem, we talk about people who are suffering from what they do not know about. A lot of people are passing through this problem. You are born into a family and you notice that nothing is going well in that family. Nobody is succeeding. Nobody is successful in life. Nobody is moving forward. The ladies are not getting married. Even if they are married, they will keep on having problems in their different homes. It's either that they are childless, or even if they give birth to children, they will experience the deaths of children from time to time. And what about the men? They don't get married. And even if they do, they can't feed their family. They'll keep on having problems with their wives. And before you know it, divorce will set in. And the ladies will come back to their homes, to their parents' houses, to start life afresh. And the men, their wives will leave them to go back to their parents' houses, and they will start life afresh. And even if there is anyone in that family who is successful, that success doesn't last. It doesn't last at all. You will see people who are in government offices, who are government workers. They will find it difficult getting promotion in their places of work. They find it difficult to get promotion. They will do whatever others are doing. They will take promotion exam. They might even pass the exam, but they will still not be promoted due to one thing or another. And then you will see those who are into business. When they start the business, they'll be succeeding. And after some time, they will start experiencing downfall, failure. Whatever they do, it will no longer yield a positive result. Their businesses will start crumbling down. And before you know it, some people will relocate from the city back to the village to start life afresh. Most of the times, all these problems are coming from intergenerational problem. And no matter where you are, as long as you are a member of that family, you were born into that family, raised in that family, your parents are the same. No matter where you find yourself, what you are passing through is equally the same thing as what your sibling is passing through. No difference. Everybody in that family will be passing through similar problems. When you come back home to tell about your problem, you will notice that your sibling equally came back to tell about the same problem. No one is different in that family. And in such families, they will keep on experiencing rise and fall. Rise and fall. Nobody rises and remains at the top. Whenever they rise, they must surely fall and start life afresh. And sometimes when they fall, they don't rise again. They remain there. And in such families, you will see them feeding from hand to mouth. And before you know it, they can't feed any longer. They will start borrowing. And before you know it, they can't even borrow anymore because they haven't paid up what they have borrowed. All these things are as a result of intergenerational problem. Now, when we talk about solving this intergenerational problem, this is a very difficult situation. Intergenerational problem is not a problem that anybody can just rise up one day because you say that you are a born again Christian, because you say that you are a child of God, because you say that you are going to church every day, you are praying to God, because you know how to pray, and then you say that you will solve that problem. There are people who are blessed spiritually to handle such cases. There are people whom God has chosen, whom he has called aside for such problems, because God knows that there are people who encounter such problems. And so amongst those that he has chosen, there are people whom he has given that special gift to solve this intergenerational problem. Now, what causes this intergenerational problem? All these problems, most of the times, are as a result of what our ancestors did that we are not aware of. These are the events that happened when our ancestors were still alive. Most of our ancestors are into so many devilish practices. They practice so many devilish things. Some of them went as far as worshiping deities, not just worshiping that deity, but they will involve their family members. They will pledge to the deity that whenever they leave this world, their children will take over from where they have stopped. Some of them will sacrifice their children before the altar of these deities, sacrificing them in the terms of not that they are killing their children, but handing their children over to the deities to take care of their children. And some will go to the extent of telling the deity to take care of their lineage. And when such things happens, as long as it involves your children and your lineage, it becomes an intergenerational problem. And the reason why it becomes an intergenerational problem is because when these ancestors pass away, they are no longer here with us. Now, when we rise up on our own, everybody has the freedom of worship. You will choose the God that you want to serve. And majority chose the living God, the one true God, the creator of the whole universe. And then when you start worshiping this God of heaven and earth, meanwhile, your ancestors pledged that his or her generation will worship a deity. Now, this is a conflict. And when that conflict starts, it becomes an intergenerational problem. When you start worshiping that living God, meanwhile, your ancestors made a pledge, they made a promise that their generation will worship that deity. And then you disobeyed by worshiping the living true God. That is when you experience intergenerational problem, because the deities will not spare you. They will not leave you. You are one with the same as your ancestors. Your ancestors promised something to them on your behalf. And you, as a child of God, you haven't done anything to let the deities know that you are not part of them, that you are not part of whatever they believe in or whatever they are doing. You haven't done anything. So when you haven't done anything, you will suffer from that intergenerational problem. And that is why you need to be carved out. You need to be separated from that lineage. Separating you from the lineage, carving you out from the lineage is not all about waking up one morning and calling your family members and you say, today we are going to denounce that we are no longer a member of this deity, or that we are no longer going to partake in whatever our ancestors did, or that we are no longer going to practice whatever they believe in, that you are denouncing it. It is not all about saying it by your mouth. It is not all about voicing it out. You need to do that. You need to put it into practice. And when I'm talking about putting it into practice, it is not what you can do. Do you know what it means to put it into practice? You are now challenging the deity for a fight. Not a physical fight, because you're not going to see the deity. Deities are little gods and goddesses. They are evil spirits. You will not see them to fight with them just like you fight with your fellow human being. Fighting with deities is done in the spiritual, because when the deities are fighting you, they won't fight you physical, they'll fight you in the spiritual, and then you will see the manifestation physically. And the manifestation of the fight with the deities are all those things that I mentioned at the initial stage. What you are passing through in life, how bad life has been treating you and your family. These are the manifestations of those fights from the deities when they start fighting you. So you need to fight back. And you fighting back will mean that you will have to separate yourself from your lineage. When I mean separating yourself from the lineage or carving yourself out, what I mean by this is, it is not denouncing that you are no longer a member of that village. No, that is physical separation and physical denouncing of the village. No, that is not what I mean. What I mean is separating you, because that deity is in control of your family or in control of your lineage or in control of the community. Everybody is under that deity. What I mean by separating yourself from that deity, I mean carving you out from the hands of that deity. Spiritually, when you are carved out, spiritually, you are no longer a member of that family. You are no longer a member of that lineage. You are no longer a member of that village. But physically, you are still a member. When everybody is going to the village, you are still a member of that family. You will go to village with them. But in the spiritual realm, you are no longer a member of that family. And when you are no longer a member of that family in the spiritual realm, the deity will no longer have any grip over you. The deity will no longer control you, because the deity doesn't control the physical life of anybody. The deities controls the spiritual life, and you know the spiritual controls the physical. So when they control that spiritual life, they are equally controlling your physical life. But when you are carved out from them, they will no longer have grip over you. Nothing, they will no longer harm you. They can't do anything, and that thing will get to you. It will no longer get to you because you are no longer part of them. You are no longer one of them. You are no longer a member of that family or a member of that village or community in the spiritual world. But physically, you are still a member. If you go to Bible, during the time of Abraham, if you read the Bible very well, you will understand that the father of Abraham was worshiping idols. That was what Abraham and his family members were worshiping. They don't have any information about the living God. They were worshiping those idols until God decided to call Abraham. And when God called Abraham, what did God do? He carved Abraham out from his family. He carved Abraham out from his parents, from his siblings. Abraham became the only person to worship the living and the true God. But the parents and the siblings kept on worshiping the deities. So, assuming that those deities decided to rise and to torment Abraham, they will no longer do anything because God himself carved Abraham out. And Abraham started worshiping God. God even carved him out, not just spiritually, but physically. He removed him from his father's house and established him in a different land and made him who he became. The same thing was also applicable to Moses. When Moses ran away and ran away from Egypt, and when he was living with his father-in-law, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law wasn't worshiping the living God. He was worshiping idols or different gods. Let me put it this way. And that was Moses believed in, because Moses himself wasn't worshiping the living God. Moses was equally worshiping the God of the Egyptians, which were deities. And so he was familiar with those gods. when he was living with Jethro. But God decided to call Moses, and God carved Moses out. He carved him out from the family of Jethro. He made himself known to Moses, and Moses stopped worshiping the deities and started worshiping the living God and following him. And not just carving him out spiritually, he equally carved him out physically by removing him from that land, bringing him back to the Egypt so that he would set his children free. So carving you out is very necessary in case you discover that all these things that I've just mentioned, that you are passing through all those things, or I know that so many people have gone to so many places in search of solutions to their problems. And so many people might have told them that it is an intergenerational problem. You need to be carved out. Now, there is a problem when it comes to carving someone out from the family, from the lineage, from the community. And that problem is, in a family, when everybody must have grown up, at times we no longer believe in one religion. Yeah. Once you have adults, there is no way all those adults will believe in one religion. By this time, everybody must have gone his separate ways or her separate ways. Some will change churches, some will change religion, some will change belief. Now, getting everybody to come together for this carving out someone from intergenerational problem, it is always difficult. When you tell the rest about this, they will tell you that their own religion is the best, that they will do that their own way. Others will tell you that they are not involved, that they don't want to do that, they don't want to maintain the one that they are in. Now, in solving this problem is better done separately. Because if you want to gather everybody and convince everybody and let everyone be fully involved, that means you can't do this. You cannot do this. And you know, in solving spiritual problems that has to do with families, whenever any family decides to go into solving their spiritual problems or deliverance or whatever, if it's a powerful man of God or a powerful woman of God or even a native doctor, they will tell you people to try and maintain peace. Maintain peace and order amongst you. Do not quarrel, because the devil must surely come in with confusion and quarrels. And when you quarrel before the event, whenever that event starts, it will no longer work for you people. That is why it is better to do it alone. Assuming, let me use myself as an example. Assuming like in my family that we have that intergenerational problem, and I have noticed that amongst all my siblings that it is not possible for all of us to come together and solve that problem. I will separate myself from my family and I will do it for myself alone. And remember, the word intergenerational problem, it doesn't end with you. Since it is an intergenerational problem, it will transfer from you to your children, from your children to their children, from their children to their children's children, and it will continue so until a generation will rise and decide to put an end to that problem. So if I notice that my family members will be the problem, that they won't agree, that will come together and solve that problem, I will do it alone. That is what I want to let us know. Doing it alone is the best way for anybody, because you can't quarrel with yourself. It's not possible that you are quarreling with yourself. It's not possible. When you are giving prayers to pray ahead of time, you will pray that prayer in peace. You will pray that prayer in peace because you are not quarreling with yourself. And on that very day, everything will go well. So carving you out is better done alone. It is a thing of choice. Let me put it this way. It is a thing of choice. You don't have to get everybody's opinion. You don't have to involve every member of the family, because bringing every member of the family for such a program is always difficult. This time around, it's just like a heavenly race. You don't hold hands together while running this heavenly race. It is a solo race. You must run it alone. So when you are going for this intergenerational, solving of this intergenerational problem, you have to do it alone so that you get the accurate result. Now, in carving you out, you will need to find people who are spiritually gifted in solving this problem. This is not something anybody can just rise up and tell you that he can do it. This is not something anybody who is a child of God will say that he or she can do. I know that, let me use this as an example. Every mother is just like the doctor of the house. When there is any family member who is sick, the mother will be the first person to notice the sickness, and then the mother will administer the first aid treatment to that person. But that doesn't make the mother a qualified medical doctor. No, it doesn't make the mother a qualified medical doctor. When that sickness gets out of hand, what the mother needs to do now is to take that child to the professionals, the doctors, those who studied about those sicknesses and studied about the treatments. They are the ones that will administer treatment to that person, and the person will become healed. The same thing is applicable to solving this spiritual problem. It is not what anybody can rise up anytime because you know you can pray very well, and then you say that you will solve this problem. Let me tell you, solving this problem is battling with deities. I don't know how to make you understand this, what it means by battling with deities. Battling with deities is not a child's play. Battling with deities is not a child's play. It is not, you won't even want to experience it. It is not good, because the deities will hit you left and right. They will hit you from all angles. But it's only the power of God in you that will still keep you standing firm and strong. The deities will come with all sorts of problems. And to start with, the moment you agree to go into solving that problem, that is when the deities will start fighting you. That is when they will start fighting you. Some of them will go to the extent of blocking your ways so that you will not see anything that will help you in solving that problem. Some of them will go to the extent of making everyone to be in enmity with you, so that nobody will listen to you, not to talk of helping you out. Some of them will go to the extent of causing sickness upon you. Sickness is not just a very severe sickness that can even take your life if care is not taken. These are the battles that you will face with the deities. So it is not just what anybody can rise up anytime and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And when God calls you at the initial stage, because this is a very difficult problem. At the initial stage, this is God. I haven't seen anybody that God called immediately and sends that person on this mission. First of all, God will groom you. He will equip you. And equipping you sometimes takes years. It takes years, it takes months, it takes years. It takes constant practices. It takes, prayerlessness. Your prayer life must increase. And from time to time, he will be giving you assignments. Do this for this person, do this for this person, do this for this person. And all those assignments that he'll be giving you are the ABC part of it. Of course, when he gives you the assignment, he will equip you and tell you how to do it. And so whenever you do it and get it right, you are now climbing the ladder of success in your calling. So as time goes on in life, when he has noticed that you are now fully ready for that bigger part, he will now choose you to do that. Carving people out is not easy. Now, when we talk about carving people out from this intergenerational problem, if we are to do it um, in a spiritual way, when I mean in a spiritual way, not just prayer by word of mouth, I mean involve the use of nature. The items that will be used for these things are just, they are just like they are nothing. They are nothing. You know, they are just, there are things lying about in your house, but you will not believe it. But what will make all those things to work are the powers in you, the powers that God has deposited in you. It is the powers in you that will make all those things work. The items we are talking about here are things like kola nuts, alligator pepper, the sand from your village, or better still, go to your village. You know, what are all the other items? Very, very minor things. Things that doesn't cost anything. They don't cost anything at all. These are the items that will be needed. But I know that so many people might tell you that for those who believe that when we talk about carving someone out from intergenerational problems, some people will think that you'll be asked to bring a goat, a cow, a fowl. No. All these things that I just mentioned now, the alligator pepper, the kola nut, the bitter kola, the sand, these are the items that you need. Nothing else. Nothing else, unless you just want to maybe thank God after the practices. You just want to thank God for the successful outcome of everything. Then it will now involve you buying a chicken or a goat or whatever, which you will use in cooking. The items needed for this exercise are nothing. Easily and so affordable. It is the practice that is the main work. So my aim of making this video is to let you guys know there are families that are into a very long problem, a long-term problem. They've been suffering. So many families have suffered for like 30, 40 years. And these families can pray very well. They can pray very well. As a matter of fact, when these people open their mouth to pray, you see heaven open. But these families are still suffering as a result of what their ancestors did. And so many people will ask, so why are they suffering since they can pray? Why are they still suffering since they believe in God? Why can't God just set them free? You are still a member of that ancestor that caused the whole thing by blood, by lineage. You are partaking in the punishment that is following that family, that is following that lineage. You are still partaking from it because you are still a member spiritually. When those ancestors were doing whatever they were doing, there was no deity physically present there. But everything is done spiritually. All they need to do is to invoke the spirit of that deity. And when that spirit appears, you don't need to see the spirit. Even if you are there, you will still not see the spirit. But the spirit is there to listen to what they have said. And now they will make this promise from generation to generation. It is an intergenerational problem. And so when they make all these promises, when they die, you, that child of God, you haven't broken that promise. You, the child of God, you haven't, removed yourself from that promise. You are still partaking in that punishment because you are a member of that family. And in as much as you can pray very well, but you are still a member spiritually. So all you need to do in order to carve yourself out is in order to stop all those intergenerational problems, is by carving yourself out. Carve yourself out spiritually. When you carve yourself out spiritually, Physically, you are still a member of that family. You're still a member of that lineage. You're still a member of that community. But spiritually, you are no longer one with them. What they believe in is no longer what you believe in. So whatever punishment they are partaking from, you will no longer partake in that punishment. And then your life will not become as the way that God has destined you to be right from the day one of your life. So after listening to this topic, if you notice that this is what you and your family members are doing, I will advise you to first of all call everybody. Let it not be that you are selfish, that you went and did whatever you did and things started going well for you and you didn't tell anybody. First of all, call your family members. Have a meeting with them, a dialogue. Let you people reason together and see if they will agree, so that you people will be carved out from the hands of that deity. Carving you people out from the hands of that deity is that carving out. When you people are carved out from the hands of that deity, the deity will no longer have any grip over you people. Spiritually, you don't know the deity anymore. You don't belong to the deity anymore. And the deity cannot do anything to you anymore. But physically, you're still a member of that family or that lineage. So what you need to do is to have one-on-one discussion with your family members. Discuss this with them. But after that discussion, you notice that no one is interested, or that it's going to take a long time because everybody is still trying to see if they will come in terms with what you are saying. Then you go alone and do it and save yourself from those problems. I want to tell you this. If you are passing through an intergenerational problem, there is no amount of spiritual products that you use that can set you free. I want you to know that. There are times when people will purchase spiritual products. It will work for you for 2 months, for 3 months, and then it will stop. Yes, it happens. And why is it stopping? Because you are trying to set yourself free. Meanwhile, you haven't carved yourself out. You are trying to make life better for you, but you haven't carved yourself out from the hands of that deity. It is the deity that stops those products from working, because there was a promise made to that deity. So is it that the promise is fulfilled by you worshiping the deity, or you breaking that oath that your ancestors made for you? The oath they made for you, which they didn't consult you while making that oath. You need to break that oath and carve yourself out from the hands of that deity. Otherwise, try spending your money buying spiritual products in order to be successful in life. The spiritual products will work for you for some time, for months. It doesn't even last. It will work for some months, and at a point it will all stop. It will all stop, and that will become kind of a waste of money. So instead of wasting your money in buying spiritual products, when you know that you are suffering from intergenerational problem, you have to go and solve that problem from the root. Solve it from the root by carving yourself out. And when you are carving yourself out, do not forget to mention the name of your children, that you are equally carving them out from the hands of that deity, because it's an intergenerational problem. As you are carving yourself out, mention your family, mention your lineage, that everything stops with you, will no longer transfer to your children. That as you are setting yourself free, you are equally setting your children free. But it's not something you can do by yourself. You don't have the power to do it by yourself. So you need to find those people who are gifted, spiritually gifted for that. Not everybody who is spiritually called by God has that gift. Not everybody who is spiritually called by God has that gift. So you need to ask questions and find people who are spiritually gifted in that side, so that they will do it for you. There is no point suffering from generation to generation. It doesn't tell good about such communities and families. It doesn't tell good. When anybody wants to marry any girl from such family, people will tell the man not to go, because the man will experience hardship, which is true. When you marry girls from such families, before you know it, you start experiencing hardship. And before you know it, you start going down. You start going down financially, even physically. So it doesn't tell good about people. Instead of lamenting, instead of jumping from here to here, trying to see if there's anybody that can do abracadabra for you so that the problems will be solved, that is a waste of time. There is nothing like abracadabra in this case. You need to solve that problem from the root. Find those people who are spiritually gifted in that field so that they will carve you out, they will carve your family out, and then you live your life the way that God has destined you to live. Okay? So I'm going to leave us here. Like I said earlier, in case you haven't joined us, please join us fully by subscribing to my channel. And if you come across any video that you love, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and click on that notification bell. You will always be notified whenever I post any clip. Once more, my name is Oge, and I'm going to leave us here. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you all.